Greetings, everyone. This is Pamela Rice of Hard News Vegan YouTube channel. This is my apartment building. Right away, okay. Get a little view of my street here in New York City, Mulberry Street. I'm doing a little 360 in a little bit fast motion here. So here's my street. I just want folks to know that I live in the middle of this looting that has taken place in conjunction with Black Lives Matter protest marches about George Floyd. And I'm just going to show you that this looting had nothing to do with George Floyd. And actually, my mayor and I agree on that. I stop here with this image. Someone placed graffiti on a over 200-year-old wall in New York City. This wall has survived everything, but now it's going to be besmirched by this graffiti. BLM, Black Lives Matter. And behind it is, you can see, is a church, and that is the St. Patrick's Basilica, which is the precursor to St. Patrick's Cathedral uptown at 50th Street on 5th Avenue. Okay, here we got some graffiti, destroy CNN. A little bit counterintuitive, a little more BLM. People, everybody's boarded up. I stop here because this famously was the site of the Ravenite Social Club of John Gotti. I remember back in the early 90s, I would see him nearly every single day. He and his cohorts would ride up and park right in these spots right here with their $100,000 custom-made Mercedes, and they would walk around like peacocks and talk business. Okay, here we are on the other side of the street from my apartment, all boarded up, okay? And right now we're going to stop at yet another place, Kyle's, which is almost right across the street from me. And this place was looted. The front pane was broken. In fact, the front panes of many of the businesses I'm going to be showing you over the next, well, here's a nice picture from, I think, the New York Times. Yeah, they sell hair products, skin products, skin creams, things like that. High-end, very high-end. So, a brand name. So here are a few restaurants that didn't board up. They have nothing to steal, like any kind of thing that you can resell. A lot of vegan restaurants, by the way. And here's Pomodoro, not a vegan restaurant, but that's been there longer than I've been here. And I've been here over 30 years. Here is the Spring Lounge, the very famous Spring Lounge. There were music videos that were done here. It's just got a very long history. Unfortunately, I don't know at this second. More boarded up. We are approaching Kenmare Street. Kenmare, if you go a little bit further left, which is east, it turns into Delancey. Most people have heard of Delancey Street. Maybe not Kenmare. Forward, we just passed, if you keep going on this street, in the other direction, it's the Little Italy restaurants. Here to our right is a brand new, almost brand new, must be a hotel perhaps, and it replaced an old car garage I used to use all the time. People wanting to get their investment back, they're not going to. How does that going to affect the economy? We just passed a playground. Here are some more vegan restaurants. You know, luck would have it that I would have vegan restaurants all around me in my home. But now we have graffiti. Who knows if these restaurants are going to come back? Here's a high-end clothing store, another high-end clothing store. And here we have again a high-end condominium, I believe it is, that replaced no less another parking garage. Soon we're going to hit in front of my apartment, and then I'm going to zoom back up to, we've already seen this. So we're going to zoom right up to Prince Street and make a left-hand turn. And we're going to head into Soho. Soho, yep, heading into Soho, New York City. Boarded up, boarded up. Okay. Graffiti everywhere. In fact, these boards are going to be like ready-made graffiti canvases. I mean, look at them. They're just ready to go. Here's Lafayette Street, very famous. I went down it after this video, and it's all boarded up too. It's just not part of this video. All high-end stores. That's a tea shop where they sell nothing but high-end teas. And this we're heading really up, going into Broadway. And then we're going to go to Mercer Street. And I didn't make a right-hand turn at Mercer Street. Not this street, this is Broadway. But the very next street is Mercer. And if I had turned right, we would have seen, okay, here we're heading one more block to Mercer. If I had turned right, I would have seen what you're going to see, the effects of looting. And there is a video of the looting taking place. I will try and put a link. There's a YouTube video where there's just total mayhem. Here's a picture of the place that was looted. It was absolute mayhem. It's called Dolce Gabbana, and there's a guy being arrested, but hey, cops, you were a little bit too late. You know, the word on the street is that that the cops let it happen. Okay, I'll talk a little bit more about that. This is from Google, and you see Dolce Gabbana to the right, and if you look down the block behind that FedEx building, you see this place, which we're going to see right now, which is Finelli's, and it is the second oldest bar in the city, filled with graffiti now. They have to have gates. They call those things gates, those aluminum things that come down. And this is an institution, Finelli. It was there during the whole kind of renaissance of Soho that started back in the 60s. Okay, we're going to stop here. Also, this is the Apple store. It was looted. I don't have any pictures of this, but that's the famous Apple. It used to be a post office. I used to use that post office, actually. Had a box there for a while. Okay, so here is F12. I'll be explaining that in the lines coming up. Okay, we have boarded up, boarded up. These are, I would love to pan up so you could see the extraordinary architecture that is throughout this area, which is 42 square blocks. People, 42 blocks of one of the most famous areas in the world, Soho, New York. People come, tourists come from all over the world, and they see many things in New York, and many of them do not neglect to miss Soho. In the summertime, so these little streets here, you can't even walk on these streets. There's so many tourists. They love Soho, and Soho has characteristics not found, I don't think, anywhere else in the world. I mean, maybe Paris can compare. It's just magnificent. This area right here ain't so magnificent. Okay, I do a quick U-E and I get out of there. Just want to, the purpose of this video and this voiceover here is to just really hammer home and really put it in your face, people, what happened to Soho. It was like a news story about a week ago. Today is June 6th, 2020. On the morning of June 1st, the night of May 31, there was a riot. There were riots all over the country because of George Floyd, who suffered an egregious, well, horrible death, first of all, but the manner in which he died was so egregious that it just touched a nerve with everyone. A horrendous death. But what happened here in Soho, they try and conflagrate, is that the word? The two, Black Lives Matter, which is trying to bring attention to police brutality and what happened to George Floyd, and looting. If you can, you'll see the graffiti all over the place is Black Lives Matter. Okay, so I'm confused. And this is one time when I and Mayor De Blasio are sort of agree. You know, he doesn't understand. You know, he keeps saying that the looting doesn't have anything to do with George Floyd. It was an opportunistic thing. The thing that I want to get a grasp on this, and I will, this is initially, I mean, the purpose of this video is to show the extent of the shutdown of the boarded up buildings. In fact, essentially 42 square blocks have been, I mean, destroyed. Soho is on its knees, let me tell you. It's been flattened, essentially. And I just want people to know, because it was a news story maybe one night, one day, couple of days. Maybe we're going to talk about this for a week on various news channels, TV channels, and then we're going to forget about it. And Soho is going to become just deserted. This vibrant gem, this plot of real estate that is just so amazing. It is filled with artists and the best of the best in product design and furniture design, lighting, art, I don't know, housewares of every sort. And it's high end. Come on, I can't deny that. So it's not all glitzy. We have parking garages, a few still left. But here, it's just boarded up. So I basically am suffering from PTSD. I mean, it's not as bad as Dresden, you know, but it has the same effect. You see, the buildings are still here, God bless. They're still here. And those buildings aren't going anywhere. I mean, I'm going to be talking about the nature of the architecture here. It's made of cast iron, okay? So here we go. I should tell you where we are. We're on West Broadway, and we're going to make a right-hand turn on Grand Street. In a little while, we're going to go. Everything is under construction. The streets are being repaved. There's scaffolding everywhere throughout the city. If you watch some of my other videos, you'll notice that. And when I want to mention that when I go over uneven ground like this, the video gets a little bit shaky, if you can see that. So I apologize for that. It's all has to do. My camera is on my handlebars, and it's quite a bit safer than the way I was doing it before by holding a selfie stick. So here we are, Grand, and again, same story. What I'm trying to tell you here is that the whole area is boarded up. All of Soho is like history right now. Who is going to come back? You know, anybody with any kind of money at all. If you have money, you don't have to stay in a bad area. You just up and go. You maybe take big losses, who knows, but it's okay with you. You're out of here. You don't have to experience what other people do with when a city or a place comes into decline. Now here it says defund NYPD. That is coming up for discussion now on news programs. And here we go. We're going to, let me try and figure out. We're going to head down Green Street here, and Green Street is probably one of my favorite streets in all the world. The architecture here is breathtakingly beautiful. And I apologize again for not panning up. The purpose of this video is not to show the architecture, really. It is to show what happened to Soho. Let me tell you a little history. Okay, these are the best of the cast iron buildings. We just passed a building that goes by the name of the Duckworth building. Do a search on that on Google, and you'll see what I mean. You can see the whole thing, top to bottom. Let me tell you about cast iron. Well, right now we're seeing brick buildings, and we're also going to go down and we're going to see Canal Street, which is kind of the heart of Chinatown. Completely dead. Dead. I did another video of Chinatown, so if you want to look at that. Okay, we're heading back up Green Street. I sort of tipped the camera up a little bit. Got obviously graffiti. Okay, here is beginning this signature cast iron architecture. So cast iron, you probably know kind of what that is. It's your grandma had a skillet made of cast iron, right? Well, Soho is the largest conglomeration of cast iron buildings in the world. It's almost like a museum. And it was started, this type of architecture began in the mid-19th century, in fact, before the Civil War. And you see the nature of it. It was trying to replicate masonry, stone. But so in its day, it was considered kind of cheesy. It was considered cheap. Now we covet it like you wouldn't believe. So what you could do is you take, there's a beautiful example. That's a beautiful, I'm glad I whipped around and showed that building. There is an exquisite example of a cast iron building right there. More cast iron. Okay, what you could do is you could mold these pillars, for example. You make one mold, and you can just go boom, 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 boom. You can make a whole bunch of them. And so that's why the architecture is the way it is. You see a lot of pillars because they could do that. Now, yonder, this building right here is a kind of a very new, those are steel beams there. And but let me tell you, so this area was generally manufacturing. It was a renaissance of manufacturing that was taking place in the late 19th century. And you needed this big, giant warehouse space. Now, some of this might have been sweatshops, but just this was American manufacturing in its nascent period, when it was just coming into its own. And manufacturing It was sort of like the industrial versus the agrarian, which was what Civil War kind of was partially about, you know. So this is the major manufacturing right here. So after a while, after World War II and times changed and it was the 1960s, this whole area went in, was like abandoned. Sort of like it's going to be very soon now. Okay, now, by the way, I just want to mention that we're heading down Mercer Street right here. And we're going to go down to a street called Howard. All right. So, so what happened was the real estate at the time, the rental space around here, you could go, you know, for a song. And so artists discover it. They loved it. They came here and they saw these giant buildings with high, tall roofs, huge windows, lots of light could come in so they could do their art. And they lived here, they did their art here, and then what happened? The artists made it into a place that, you know, suddenly they made it into a high-end, gentrified place, and they were suddenly outspent. You know, they had to move out. And so all of the retailers came in, and now at this point it's at the pinnacle with the high-end realtors, real estate, and the retailers coming in. The artists are long gone, but they made Soho. They were the people who, in the beginning, made Soho what it is today. So this is the old story. So, I mean, here's more of this cast iron architecture, just amazing. And you're going to see all the graffiti, Black Lives Matter. You're going to see another slogan where it says F12, you know, and F12, 12 stands, I mean, I looked this up. You can do more research on this, but 12, I think, represents the department where the narcotics division is with law enforcement. 12. And so when you say fuck 12 or fuck the NYPD or NYPDK, which maybe means NYPD kill, and they say defund the police, and you know, I will tell you that these young people with Black Lives Matter and who are you know, they don't want to associate themselves with the looters, but somehow they are. You know, you can't really divorce the two. But when the rich people leave, when the real estate leaves, when business leaves, when you know, when there are no jobs, when there's no economy, there's nothing for you to buy, there's no place to work. You know, now this is the Hogwatt building. I'm going to be talking about this. I go up and down. Sorry about that. The Hogwatt building is very famous. I'll be talking about that a little bit later. Just wanted to point that out. When the middle class and the upper class and the wealthy class, you know, anybody who has already left New York. I mean, look at it. I mean, we're here on the tail end of this COVID-19 thing. And if you're not familiar with that, you can look that up. But right now, everybody is experiencing it. I mean, the people who did all this looting and the people who are poor, disenfranchised, they're going to be even more poor and more disenfranchised. And nobody's going to like these people because of, the part they played in the destruction of New York City. So, I'm trying to wrap my arms around Black Lives Matter and this whole situation. These young people are pissed. Duh. Okay. DIY reparations. Interesting. Do-it-yourself reparations. That's a very ACAB. All cops are bastards. But soon, I'm trying to figure this out. And all I can figure, this is my opinion. My husband wants to hit me usually when I state this opinion. But to me, I think it's all a function of the welfare state. And the welfare state has pretty much destroyed, African American manhood and fatherhood. That's my opinion. I think the welfare state did that. It destroyed the family. You can debate me in the comments below. Please do. My husband disagrees with me vehemently. He believes that there is intense injustice, and I believe that as well. But I also think that there were policy decisions that got us here. They've been in place for decades, where these young people, these looters, and I think that it's happening across the country, where the family is being attacked, because the family is the thing that can stand in the way of two-bit politicians who just want to be in power. They want to kind of destroy you from the inside out. They want to mess with your mind, and basically destroy all the support system that you have. If you hear some clanging in the background, that's the 7 o'clock thing that people bang on pots and pans at 7 o'clock, at 7 p.m. right now. Okay, we just passed some graffiti there, and that graffiti wasn't there even a couple weeks ago. Here's a great real holdover, this Metropolitan, you kind of missed it there, Metropolitan Lumberyard. Imagine in this high-end area you have a lumberyard. I go there, I use it. All these places shuttered. I believe that this is a function of the welfare state. It is a function of the destruction of the family. Okay, now we are we're on, I believe, Prince Street and West Broadway right now. And this is more residential here. West Broadway is just packed with, the whole drag is packed with name brand, high-end flagship stores. They're basically the flagship store. And see, what I don't understand, to tell you the truth, is, as some people know, I run a retail establishment that is, in fact, allowed to stay in business. I sell beer, which is considered quote-unquote essential. I've gone over this many times in other videos. But I don't understand. I have one little place. If I send a letter to the mayor or the governor, it's just going to get tossed out the window or worse. Anyway, I don't understand. There must be massive size real estate interests, retail interests, business interests, even the hotel industry, the museums, the theaters, Okay, now I just kind of jumped like magic, I believe, down to West Broadway and Grand Street, I believe. So I don't understand why these people who are very, very wealthy, no, I'm on Broome Street going east. I do not understand why these really wealthy, wealthy interests are not putting mammoth-sized pressure on the mayor to turn this around. Of course, in many ways, it's too late. These businesses, many of them, are not coming back, not because they can't, but in this case, because they won't. They won't come back because the mayor and the governor and everybody betrayed them, and they don't want to be betrayed again by this BS. These people, they have the money for the large part. A lot of these are big national brands. Like I say, this is their flagship store that probably doesn't make money for them anyway. It's just there because they want to be in Soho and be seen in Soho. I mean, I don't know, that's just, and not all of them. Of course, a lot of them need to make a profit and need, with their store. I just don't understand why these mammoth-sized interests are not up in arms. Why they allow this to happen? It's really a mystery to me. Now, we are fast approaching an area with some of the worst vandalism, a watch store. In fact, here it is. Watches by Switzerland, okay? High end. You can look that up and see the kind, go to their website. And there's going to be a picture of some of the mayhem that happened to this place. Looted, their windows broken. The first rumor was that $2.2 million in watches were stolen. Well, that turned out to be very... well, first of all, I thought it was a crazy thing that they'd have all their watches in a safe every single night. A very heavy safe. That was a rumor maybe that got out and went out as real news. So, but later, okay, here's a picture of exactly the place we were just looking at. This was the scene of the riot, the looting riot. It was a looting riot. And, I mean, this is the scene that played out over and over again. These hordes of marauders, looters, criminals. If you're Donald Trump, you call them animals. But these people are nasty people. They do not care about George Floyd. I mean, that is not their purpose here. They are opportunistic. And the thing is, what I don't understand is that there are packs and packs and packs of people. And all over the country. I mean, this is a nationwide... Okay, here he is. Okay, so we're continuing. So we passed Watches of Switzerland. I mean, but these hordes of people, I mean, they didn't just kind of erupt and come out of thin air. They've been in the shadows, for a very long time. They had to be. We're talking about a crime syndicate of sorts, of these marauders. A friend of mine told me that he saw, or maybe he was told that somebody saw a crime where a guy very nonchalantly walked down the street with a hammer and broke the windows of about 5 cars in a row with a hammer. And then he slipped into the shadows. And then immediately after, a bunch of guys came from out of nowhere, and they went in the cars, and they messed them up. They stole whatever was in them. So, I mean, that's what we have. We have like, it's like a drive-by killing or a drive-by crime. You do it very quick. We've all seen the videos. The thing is, the extent of it. This isn't just like 100 people. This is maybe thousands of people, and they're all just waiting, just sitting there waiting for the right moment to strike. So I find it really disgusting. I've talked about this before, but I'm a retailer. I sell craft beer on 86th Street in New York City. And, I'm like, I want to mention that they didn't use plywood. They used aluminum siding. Check that out. It's kind of pretty, actually. But this will get all filled up with graffiti very soon. Looks kind of pretty right now. And here is the Apple Store again. We kind of went around in circles there. So we're going to head, I think, see those beautiful, beautiful cast iron architecture. So I always say to people, I honestly don't understand Washington, D.C. I don't understand politicians outside of just having nothing but disdain for them. Because they have no skin in the game. That's the big difference. Like for me, I have to make a profit, and I have a lot of skin in the game. Everything I do, when we buy certain products that we hope will sell, we're taking a risk all the time. And if we make a mistake in what we purchase to sell, there's no one we can run to, no big sugar daddy government agency that we can run to and say, I lost $8,000 buying the wrong products and nobody wanted them and I had to eat I don't want to eat my loss. Give me money. No, I can't do that. I can't do that. But, it seems that, let's see, where are we going now? We were on Green Street before, and now, let's see, we are, I think, going down to Broom Street again. Oh, no. No, we're heading over to the Hogwatt building. So, retailers, they don't understand politicians. And politicians, somebody said, I forget who it was, they said that sometimes telling, let's say I wanted to talk to my politician, and it would be like talking, if I was going to talk about being a retailer and what it takes, and I would be trying to explain it to this politician, like somebody like Mayor de Blasio. It would be like talking about sex to a eunuch. I heard that. I didn't make that up. They just can't grasp it. They can't grasp it. They can't understand it. They can't understand what goes into making a profit, making payroll, taking on risk, and avoiding making a mistake. So we're going to be seeing the Hogwatt building coming up soon. And this was pretty much the very first cast iron building in Soho. I don't know if it was the very first, but it was very early. And the story is that, there's a little peek at that beautiful building. And over here, kitty corner to that building is the Hogwatt. Anyway, that Mary Todd Lincoln, who was Lincoln's wife, she came here and bought a bunch of place settings for a big state dinner, big state event during the Civil War or during the very end of the Civil War, and when everyone was suffering. And she was, kind of obsessing over, the right, napkin and to use. But also in this building is the oldest elevator in the world, the very first Otis elevator. And I actually saw that elevator. It was removed, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, but I saw it, and somebody opened up this little door, and you could even see it from the outside through a window for a while, and it was famous. It was famous. So more of the same, cast iron here. You see that motif where it's repeated because these are molds. Each one of these did not have to be cut by a stonemason. All right, so we're heading uptown on Broadway, and the camera is facing west. Okay. And again, my purpose here, I've said it like 3 or 4 times now, is to simply show the extent of the boarded up. Soho is a gem. It is one of the most extraordinary places on the face of the earth. It is in a class by itself, and it has a wonderful history. And I have enjoyed living near it, near this neighborhood, my 30 years of living in New York City, 30 plus years. And to see this go, I mean, I'm telling friends and family that I'm essentially experiencing PTSD. And I'll have to say that this is a very, very peculiar time right now. Justice for Floyd. Okay. This is a very peculiar time because a lot of people, oh my God, are hurting and even, I don't know, starving. They don't have a job. They don't have even, many people, it was found in a survey that many people don't even have. I think this was Victoria's Secret for a while, right here. It's Prince Street. Yeah, this is where the subway is. This is the subway station I come out of to go home. But kind of lost my train of thought there. Anyway, I mean, this is a great place. I know. What I find odd is that people, I mean, outside of those looters, I mean, certainly have gone mad. This whole situation, first starting with COVID, and now with this looter, I mean, it is a 1-2 punch for retail, and the full ramifications of it all, it has yet to be felt. It's definitely not over, but a lot of people, and they have this intense, what they call normalcy bias. I see it all over. I see it in my customers, especially who live on the Upper East Side, who only know, essentially maybe you have some adversity in your life, but essentially you just work hard and you get you have prosperity, or you don't have to worry about going to bed hungry. You don't have to worry about being thrown out of your apartment or anything. But you know what? I hate to say it. It could very well change. And when you see this, when you see an entire business district of this extent, they say that millions, tens of millions of dollars were lost in this looting event. And this event has repeated all across the nation. Of course, Minneapolis, we all know about that, for crying out loud, and the Bronx. I mean, I haven't been up to the Bronx yet, but as soon as I can, I'm going to go up there. The city is finally going to open up from COVID, I believe, in just a couple of days. So, but people are still. I mean, I just got my stimulus check. I can't. I mean, everybody over the country is getting their stimulus check. They're getting they're getting their unemployment insurance. Some people are making more money now than they even made when they actually worked. So nobody's really hurting yet. They're sitting at home. They're watching the Netflix and all that. But I will tell you, this ain't gonna end well, as they say. I think there's Lululemon. Lululemon was looted. You know what? I don't even know how many of these places were actually looted. And I'll have to tell you, I wasn't home. I was out of town the night that all this looting took place. Now we're going to hit Bloomingdale's right here. This is Bloomingdale's on Broadway. And this picture, excuse me, I got from just a news story. And there it turned out to be a police car, little one of those little tiny smart cars, which is a police car. So here we go. Here's the Hogwarts building again, and it has that big clock on the front, which is of course wrong. It is not 9 o'clock, neither a.m. or p.m. Yeah, so there's immense normalcy bias going on, and I don't have normalcy bias. I have always been preparing for this, actually, just thinking, oh, it won't come, because it never comes. I sort of had normalcy bias, but also I'm a doomsday prepper. That's the truth. If people know me, I have seriously been preparing for this, but I honestly still can't believe it actually happened, and it is not going to end well. It's going to be horrible, horrible. I think that we're going to have to see if this economy can get back on its feet, but I don't see. You've destroyed supply lines. You have freaked people out to the nth degree. You've freaked them out utterly, and they just don't want to get burned again. Here is, that's the post office yonder, that white building. We're just turning around at Canal Street, coming back up Broadway. This is why I believe in honest money. This is why I have a food supply. This is why I have actually worried about water supply. I have books about, oh, here we go. It says store empty, nothing left. It says over and over. I saw this on Fox News. G-Star Raw, I heard that place was totally looted. I mean, you had a riot outside. But look at this architecture. There's beautiful arches there and everything. It's just magnificent. It's just, I'm not having a good time. And I think that the purpose of this video is, again, to wake people up. This is not normal at all. This is an extremely extraordinary event. I think people get that part. But I don't think people have a clue about what's coming. I majored in history, and what does it say? I've said, oh, defund NYPD. We've seen that before. I'm going to do a full 360 here. I thought I'd leave it in so you can kind of see down all the streets in a quickie like that. And at this point, let me look at my map. Where am I going? I'm going up Green Street again. Cartel, they make ugly furniture, but it's sort of like a designer style. I don't care for it. Yeah, I don't think people are going to know what hit them. I really don't. This is going to be very bad. All people at the low end, the wage earners, the illegal aliens, they've already been thrown under the bus. And a lot of wage earners, a lot of people, in these industries, actors, dancers, in the theater district, people who work in hotel business, and people who work at museums. I mean, is a museum going to open back up again when they know that all the people with any money are not coming back? The people with money who go to museums, they're not going to come back. So New York is going to turn into just another city. It's going to turn into just another city. That people sell insurance, or, people, I don't know, but you see, New York is special. Come on, just face it. New York is special. It's why everybody wants to be here. It sort of has evolved to this place that it is beyond just subsistence. Here's a very famous bar, and behind it is a restaurant, like an L-shaped restaurant called the Cupping Room. Been there forever. And I mean, these places, are they going to come back? They've survived so many things, wars, they've survived, other riots and other things, but are they going to survive this? And I think not, because we are trying, there are some people who want to turn America into a communist, Marxist, socialist state. They want to, because they want power. They don't really believe in socialism. I mean, nobody can. It absolutely doesn't work. I have a friend, I might have said this in another video, she considers herself a socialist, okay, and, I think she's crazy. I visited her home, and she is like she's your limousine liberal. She has this beautiful home, which she paid a designer to design, and I went into her kitchen and I saw this beautiful lighting, these exquisite little, interesting lighting that made her kitchen look absolutely beautiful. I said, "Hey, dear friend, how do you think you got this? You think you could get something as beautiful as this in a socialist world?" I don't think so. The person who manufactured this, imagined this in their mind. Do you think that they would have done it if they didn't think they could make a profit? Do you think? Oh my God, a profit. That is like the worst thing. The worst thing. Can't make a profit. Can't make a profit. That's evil. Money is evil. Our founding fathers were, they were pretty much in agreement in that they did not trust the human heart or the human benevolence. They didn't trust humans to do the right thing on their own. And I think everybody can pretty much kind of agree with that. This video is about to end. So I want to thank everybody for watching. Anyway, our founding fathers, they believed that humans were not really that great, but they they do the right thing when they are pressured to. And so that's why they have the separation of powers. And so that's what I think skin in the game is all about. I have skin in the game with my business, and I think that this is the way we must live. Everybody must have skin. When you do eBay, you do the right thing because you know you can get bad feedback and it could ruin your business. So there is self-interest there. You have to have self-interest, and this is about it. And thank you for watching. Share, rate, and what is my friend Salivate Metal say? He says rate, comment, share, and subscribe. Okay, almost forgot the last part. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I spent a lot of time on it. It could have been better, but I was more interested in getting it out there. Again, for like the 8th, 10th time now, it was to show how boarded up this Soho is, this magnificent piece of real estate. So I'm out of here. Take care, everyone.